Welcome back, everyone, to the Legacy Years, the podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about embracing both the joys and the challenges of aging. So, those topics that sound super sciencey at first, but the more you learn, the more you realize, wait, everyone should know about this stuff. That's today. We are diving into the fascinating world of stem cell regeneration. It's a mouthful. Whether you're aging gracefully, you're healing slowly, or you're just curious about how our bodies might be smarter than we give them credit for, this episode will leave you saying, why didn't anyone teach me this sooner? My guest today is Lani Lang with LifeWave and Now 3D Wellness, and she is passionate about demystifying stem cell science, and she's going to break it down for us in a way that's going to be fun and easy to follow. So let's get into it, because your body might just be a lot more capable than you think. Right, Lani?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, welcome. Yes, we're so glad to have you here. Why don't you tell folks just a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you so much, Christy, for the opportunity to share. And I live in Dallas, Texas. I'm now remarried. I have 3 kiddos and 2 bonus kids. So 5 kids, and so I'm very excited to be part of this prolific regenerative science because I need all the energy and stem cell regeneration as possible.
Yeah.
Well, and so I actually have several jobs. I do a Medicare and I also teach dance. And then when I came across this regenerative science on activating our own dormant stem cells, I couldn't help but wear it and share it with other people. So thank you for letting me share today.
Absolutely. So it's funny because it's not just about the kids. You are busy in a lot of other areas.
Yes.
So let's dive into it. So some people may not even know just the basics. So we're going to start there. So what are stem cells and why do they matter as we age?
Yeah, no, great question. I knew a little bit about stem cells, as being a exercise science minor back in the day in college, but stem cells are the master cells of the body. So they have the unique ability to renew and regenerate, then they can differentiate. So it's kind of like if you go to the store and you have cash, you can buy whatever you want, right? And so our stem cells, they can turn into various parts of the body, like our brain cell, organs, muscle tissue, whatever the body needs. And so we don't even realize that stem cells are so important, it's for growth, maintenance, healing, restorative, with our own bodies. And so when we're 30, half of our stem cells actually go dormant. And so we don't realize it, because when we're 30, we think we're invincible. And when we're 60, over 90% of our stem cells have actually gone to sleep. They're dormant. They don't go anywhere. They just are not as active. And so that's where we feel the effects of aging. If we can compare from, the days when we were 30, or even kids, right, being able to jump back and heal from a injury. And so as we get older, the less stem cells we have working for us, basically recovery becomes a lot harder, illness, surgeries, healing becomes a lot slower with less stem cells going to work for us.
That is crazy. And our bodies are so amazing if you think about that. And I don't know why they go dormant. I don't know if you know the science behind that either, but to me, that's just so interesting that they stay there, but they're just not working anymore. What are you doing, guys?
You're sleeping on the job, literally.
Right. So let's talk about that. So what is stem cell regeneration and how does that support, healing and our bodies functioning better?
Well, when we can wake up our own stem cells, I believe our bodies are created like the way that God created our bodies to heal from the inside out. And so what happens is we're able to actually be able to reduce inflammation. Inflammation is a huge root of pain. And a lot of people will, have suffered different illnesses, autoimmune, migraines, just from inflammation itself. And so when we can wake up our own stem cells, we'll actually feel like when I was saying I have 5 kids, it's not only our stem cells within our bodies, but like mental clarity, energy, better sleep, reduction of inflammation, wound healing. So the body triages itself and does what it needs to. But when you can wake up your own dormant stem cells, you're able to start feeling literally age reversing and feel better just from the inside out.
Yeah.
So LifeWave actually is a 20-year-old company. David Schmidt, our CEO, scientist, and inventor, he's not a doctor, but he's a creator of science and he's brilliant. And he actually created the energy patch 20 years ago. Nobody heard of LifeWave, but he was contracted with the Navy SEAL to do an energy patch for the Navy SEAL when they went on long mission trips without drugs, without stimulants. And so he created this patch. Well, years later, he was then putting the energy patch on the Olympic swim team when Michael Phelps won
Mm,
the gold. And these Olympic athletes were, breaking their own personal records. Still don't hear about the company. So fast forward, he puts in 10 years of research, knowing that stem cells would be the wave of the future. And $4.5 million later, he created this stem cell patch that activates your own stem cells. So it actually, there's nothing that goes in the body. It's 100% drug free, but the nanocrystal technology, it sends a wavelength to the brain to activate a copper peptide that has a patent. You can't have a patent if the product doesn't work, that actually increases your own stem cells to wake them up. It's fascinating.
that is so fascinating to me. And you think of something so small and like how on earth does that work? People are way smarter than I am, but it still blows my mind. So, how does this approach compare to some traditional stem cell therapies that we see out there? I don't really even know what those might be, but are there other therapies?
Yeah, the most common that, we hear about, like I had heard of stem cells, and people going out of the country to pay thousands of dollars for stem cell injections, or, sometimes you'll have a young parent, like they'll save the umbilical cord of their baby.
Okay.
So, some people have heard of like stem cell injections.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to say about that in respect of one, I wouldn't trust necessarily somebody else's stem cells going into my body. But two, it's not guaranteed. And, you hear these horrible Dateline stories of people going out of the country for quick fixes. But I can tell you, actually, my friend Connie, she spent $2,200 here in America to get stem cells injection in her hand because she had like a trigger finger. Well, it not only took 6 to 8 months recovery just from, a hand injury, but the relief from her pain in her thumb was literally only 1 month. So $2,200 for a 8, 9 month process and 1 month of relief. So when you can wake up your own stem cells for less than a cup of coffee a day, and I know it just looks like a sticker. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just literally peel and stick and go about your day. It's like, I mean, it's even easier than taking a vitamin, but when you can wake up your own stem cells, it's non-invasive and 100% drug free. I mean, it doesn't make sense why people wouldn't try it, but it's definitely gaining momentum. It'll be a household name in a few years. Absolutely.
Answer me this. If you were to start this type of therapy, this non-invasive therapy, when would someone see like when would they feel a difference?
Ooh, that's a great question. So David Schmidt says for every decade of age, give it at least 1 month, but 97% of the people will start seeing results within 90 days. Like even my husband, we started, kind of on happenstance. He had literally had a major knee surgery, and within 3 months of being on the patches, like you can't even see a scar. But what we didn't realize is like being able to sleep better through the night, 4 or 5
Yeah.
months in, my vision's better. He doesn't use readers for work during the day. More energy, mental clarity. But within the first few days, genes are resetting. So, like, we don't feel our stem cells go to sleep. We don't necessarily feel them wake up. And so
Yeah.
sometimes people will say, well, I don't feel anything. It's like, well, did you wear it consistently? And are you drinking enough water? Because you got to really hydrate your body. Your body is such an amazing machine. The light and energy in our body and making sure we're hydrated is important. And so the first few days, genes are resetting. Sometimes people will be a one patch wonder, but usually within weeks, you're going to start feeling like, wow, things are sharper. I'm more focused. I have better energy, mental clarity. Like I don't have to take me personally, I don't have to take naps anymore before I go teach
Oh,
dance. So just that kind of steady stamina. But within 6 weeks, there's studies that show that like on a 77-year-old lady, she came in with total brain incoherence. She had inflammation in the brain, had not started the patches. Within 3 weeks, her brain was calming down, and within 6 weeks, the brain was balanced. So, people with PTSD, anxiety, like when you can start calming down your brain and anxiety, like the world seems a lot more, brighter. And so, and then like within 3 months, collagen is kicking in. So I think I look pretty good, hopefully age reversing, and not just anti-aging, as David Schmidt says, but collagen in our hair, skin, and nails, but also like within our joints. Like when you hear
Mm,
bone on
yeah.
bone, a lot of people will say, "Oh man, that hurts," because of my bone on bone. Well, when collagen is starting to produce in your own joints and in your cartilage, then you'll start feeling the relief. The arthritis starts going away. People's back pains go away. A lot of, athletes will be able to perform better and recover quicker, as well as 6 months. Clinical studies show that the heart cardiovascularly reverses in age up to 8 years. Like that is a game
Wow.
changer. So I get the question a lot like, oh, should I stop after 6, 7 months? I'm thinking, why would you want to? When your body
Right.
is waking up stem cells, it's not like they'll go to sleep immediately if you forget a patch or stop. But I wouldn't want them to slowly go dormant again when you start feeling better, literally from the inside out.
Right.
And so, we just encourage people. I have so many testimonials of like Mark, my buddy Mark. He's a roofer here in Texas, and can you imagine being in Texas and not being able to sweat internally because you got heat stroke over 20 years ago? So he couldn't take vacations with his family to the beach. He couldn't hike. And we all know how hot Texas is. Now, for every decade of age, if he had only given it 5 months because he's 50 some years old, he wouldn't have seen his miracle. Like he had better vision, he was able to sleep. But at month 10, he started perspiring from the inside out. I mean,
Oh,
that,
wow.
and so like he was so excited to be cold because he was actually starting to feel from the neck down sweating. And so
Wow.
I mean, the testimonials are amazing. Like Bob, he's a C3 incomplete quad. He had not walked in over 30 years. Within 2, 3 months on the patch, he was able to lift himself out of his wheelchair at therapy, of course, in conjunction with his therapist and doctors,
Yes.
and started taking his first steps that he had not taken in years. I mean,
Man.
when autistic kids are speaking, and Paula, she's a 91-year-old. Her mom is 91. She went down on the dementia scale from 5 to a 3. Her doctor said, we never see anybody reverse dementia scale. She's starting to get her memory and be able to read books again. I mean, it's just so exciting when you hear the stories of people's life, not only changing like the quality of life, getting so much better.
Yeah, that is amazing. So, talk to me about the science and what the science says about the non-invasive stimulation of stem cells. Uh, How does that? I know you mentioned it triggers something in the brain. There's a I don't remember everything you said, but talk to me about that, the sciencey part of it.
Yeah, I think what's so cool is that, you don't have to have a pill. When we take pills and supplements, or injections, for any kind of healing, our body is either considering it like a foreign matter, or a supplement doesn't get absorbed, completely. And so, non-invasive, it's kind of mind-boggling to think that a patch could actually activate your own stem cells, but it goes to the neurons and the metabolic changes internally. And so just think of like literally turning on a light switch, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't know how the house is wired, but thank goodness if we're not in a Texas storm, we turn on that light switch and things, behind the scenes are waking up. I don't know how a microwave works, but I'm sure glad that when I need to use it, it's cooking my food. And so basically some people are like a slow cooker where they're healing from the inside out, and some people are Instapot, but our bodies are so smart. So when you can increase the copper peptides, and our bodies have so many amazing components to it, but it's
Right.
those the copper peptide that increases, that David Smith so brilliantly figured out how to increase this particular copper peptide that activates our own stem cells. I think that's really what's so amazing. It's not anybody else's, it's just our own body healing endogenously.
Yeah. So, are there safety or cautionary considerations that people need to be aware of when it comes to stem cell regeneration?
I always say, we don't want to replace the medical community. In our medical disclaimers, we can't say that, this patch treats, cures, diagnoses, mitigates any illnesses. So I always want to give that disclaimer that, we are not saying don't go to the doctor. I can tell you, one of my friends, Carrie Robertson's mom, Miss Billy, I've met her in person. I mean, if you saw her from her before picture where she was in a walker and couldn't even get out of her house, she is now 83 years young, driving, traveling. But with the help of her doctor, within less than 10 months, she was able to come off of 15 medications and pain medications. Like she had had polio as a child and had been on this medication, Synthroid, for like over 50 years. I mean, she had diabetes, she had GI problems, hyperthyroidism. Like, I mean, the list was long. And so we always want to say, make sure you partner with your doctors. And a lot of doctors are starting to see, wow, we really need to get on board. Some may be part of big pharma, and that's another, story and debate. But those that actually see where they can help in the best interest of their patients come off medications, they are seeing like record breaking testimonials of people coming off medications, increasing their quality of life. And Miss Billy, I've met her several times. She's traveling and driving. Like she is such a joy, and it's really encouraging. As we age, we don't
Right.
want to feel like, okay, this is kind of like where I'm going to have to retire in this box, when really the world's our oyster and so much more life can be lived.
I really am enjoying what I feel like I'm seeing in today's culture, which is a shift to a combination of traditional medical and functional medical. And I think there's so many wonderful functional medicine things out there that can help us in so many ways. And people are starting to be a lot more accepting of those things and buying into it. Like, I'm going to give this a shot and give
Mhm.
it the chance, like you said, the chance to work. So, talk to me about how can our listeners avoid misinformation about this, and how can they make informed decisions in your opinion?
Well, I think I've learned, there's always gonna, the Taylor Swift song, "The haters are gonna hate," and there's always gonna be naysayers. There's always gonna be somebody that's like, well, it didn't work for me. Okay, well, I mean, respectfully, did you give it a real fair shot? Did you do what you're supposed to do? Like, okay, you can't, put it on every 3 days and then say you don't feel anything and give up in a month, when David Smith, the inventor, says, give it at least 3, 6, 7 months, depending on your age. And so I say, put it by your toothbrush and, hopefully you brush your teeth in the morning, put it on,
Let's hope
and
people do.
let's hope you do it at night, before you go to bed. And so it's just literally 12 hours on, 12 hours off. But I think some people want a quick fix. I think some people want,
Mhm.
hey, I saw it at Walmart. I saw it in Amazon. Like, I just want to get the knockoff brand. Well, respectfully, I mean, I am Asian, so I can, hopefully make a little bit of a, not a dig, but Asians, I went to Vietnam recently and they had, the brand names and Louis Vuitton and Coach and, but it probably will fall apart, my purse, in a couple months. I mean, just respectfully, if the quality of the product's not there, I mean, you can't expect a knockoff brand to be the same quality of the original, right?
Correct.
I mean, you kind of get what you pay for, and so
Yeah,
it's very affordable. I mean, literally $100 a month, or approximately. People are spending that on copays, prescription copays.
I was
Yes.
just going to say that, Lonnie. I was going to say what you would pay in not being healthy is so much more than we would pay for these preventative and wellness things that are out there.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, with inflation and everything, we could easily drop $100 in a week, right? I mean, groceries are
Yeah.
more expensive. I mean, so when you can actually, like you said, heal and be younger, why wouldn't we, instead of spending the money towards, co-pays and medicine and other supplements and stuff to put in our body, why not let our body, heal from the inside out?
Yeah. I noticed you wear it on your arm, which I think is interesting because I know that's not necessarily where the directions tell you to wear it, But I do think it being front and center is something that helps you remember, because I've talked about this. I am one of those. I forget to take it off. I forget to put it on. I forget all the things. So, but so talk to me about that first.
Well, I gotta patch you and consistently put it by your toothbrush.
I know. I'm
That
gonna do
will.
that. That's such a great idea.
But I personally like to wear it and share it. It is easy. Even my little dancers will be like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Tell your parents it's a stem cell patch."
Yeah.
But for me, ironically, David Schmidt says the clinical studies have it on the neck and the belly button for consistent results. I like to wear it and share it. It's the easiest adult version of show and tell, because sometimes people will ask, but even if they don't, if I see them struggling, maybe physically, or even financially, because there is an opportunity not to only wear it and share it, but if you want to get your patches paid for, I can help you do that. If you want to make money to pay for inflation and groceries, there's sky's the limit, because as you wear it and share with other people, you can actually not only get your patches paid for, but very easily make a full-time income on a part-time venture. So it's just
Interesting.
easy for me. And I honestly, I had an old injury and I had neuropathy. And when I put it on my right hand, particularly, I can feel my fingers again. So I love it.
Wow. Yeah. Now, how long have you been involved with LifeWave?
We started last summer, about August, when my
Okay.
husband busted his knee, but we didn't see the business opportunity until months later. Some people see it right away, but when you can see the opportunity to offer hope, I like to say I'm a hope dealer, hope to people physically and or financially. It's a game changer, because so many people are hurting. And a lot of people,
Yeah.
honestly, when I go to church and I pray with people, they are either telling me about something that they're struggling with physically, or financially. And so
Yeah.
when you can offer hope to someone, it is not only, life changing, it's life giving.
Yeah. So I always ask my guests, is there anything else that you would like to say to the audience that we didn't cover here today about your expert topic?
Well, that's a great question. I just really am passionate, for us, it's a ministry. We really love seeing people's lives change. The testimonials, just, you never get sick of them, and you have to grab a
Right.
tissue, because when your friend's autistic child is starting to put words together, or when grandma remembers her grandchildren's names. I think that it's very underrated on how magnificent this patented technology is, because, I think we all know the buzzwords, right? Like stem cell and patents and stuff. But when you really physically try it and you like start feeling better, you can't not think of the people that you know and love, that you want them to
Yeah.
feel better as well. So
Yeah.
it's really an answer to prayer for us. We've been praying for something, and God just blessed us with this.
It's amazing for you. I love that. So tell folks, if they do want to reach out to you about this, how would they get a hold of Lonnie?
Well, you can, I don't know if you can offer my contact information. Of course, they can contact me. My phone number is super easy to remember.
Perfect.
We do have a website. We have the website that also offers patents and the PubMeds, and videos from the scientist and inventor David Schmidt, doctor testimonials. And so that way they can get a lot more information, but I would love for them to contact me directly. And again, my number is 214-770-9229, and then I can
Perfect.
connect with all the other information.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your passion about this topic, and it's fascinating to me. And I promise I'm gonna be consistent. I want to see. I'm assuming 6 months. But that tells people close to how old I am. But I'm assuming 6 months I need to really feel the differences. And I may keep a journal, and I will come back on here, you guys. And in 6 months, I'll tell you how I'm feeling.
I would love that. I'll send you a health tracker. So would love
Okay. Oh, I
to.
didn't know there was such a thing.
Yep, I will hook you up. I really appreciate the opportunity to share.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.